In this video, let's talk about supply and the law of supply. So using the same example as our demand videos, let's use cake to illustrate what supply and the law of supply is. So this time, imagine if instead of being a shopper, instead of being a consumer, you are now producing cakes, right? And before even producing any cake, you would see how much cake is selling in the market before deciding how much cake to produce. So for example, if you see that cake is only selling at $3 in a shop, chances are you may not even want to produce anything, right? Why? Because it costs you $3 or maybe even more than $3 to make 1,000 units of cake. I'm saying 1,000 because in this case, the quantity of cake is in 1,000 units. So just take note that unlike demand, now we have this gap between the origin of the graph and our original price point, the y-intercept. This gap is basically our cost of production. If you think about it from a producer's standpoint, if the price of a good in a shop is cheaper or lower than how much it costs you to make the good, you probably wouldn't make any of it at all. Now let's imagine instead of $3, the price of cake is now $5 in a shop. You may then be more willing and able to make cake, right? And you may be more willing and able to make 1,000 units of cake, as you see over here. And this is reflected along the graph as point B. Similarly, if you see that cake is going for $10, you would then be more willing and able to make 2,000 units of cake. And this is reflected along the graph as point C. So this is a very simple illustration of a real-life example to communicate what supply means. Supply basically refers to various quantities of goods and services that you, a producer or a company, is willing and able to produce or sell at different price levels across a time period, ceteris paribus. If you think about it, it is really not much difference at all from demand. Just at this time, instead of thinking from the consumer's perspective, you think from the producer's perspective. And one key difference between demand and supply is this gap, right? Between the origin and the y-intercept, which reflects the cost of production. And this very simple example also illustrates to you what law of supply is, which basically states that as the price of a good increases, the quantity of the goods supplied also increases, ceteris paribus. And in contrast to the law of demand, this time there is a positive relationship between the price and the quantity of the goods supplied. Because if you think about it, if you're making cakes and if you know that your cakes will sell for a higher price in the market, you would be more incentivized to produce more cakes to maximize your firm's revenue or profit. So hopefully this is a simple explanation of what supply is, what the law of supply is, and why there is this gap between the origin and the y-intercept in this concept.